Yo, brosifs, this is your lovable baby boy Brank telling you guys that you need to check out Anchor.fm. It's the free one-stop shop to make your own podcast. You don't need any other recording software at all. You can record there and edit either on your phone or your computer, and Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. You don't need to hassle with getting URLs or Reddits or placing something so your podcast can be found. They'll do it. They'll put it on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from them with no minimum listenership. Get that cash money now. It's everything you need to make a podcast. It's a one-stop shop, so go there today. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started. That is Anchor, Anchor. Download the app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Peace.
Super.
BS.
Howdy, doodle-arinos. It is I, Branky boy, baby boy, number one boy, from Super BS, a podcast about video games mostly. I'm joined by my compatriot and friend. What are you going to call yourself today, huh?
Just the Jatorius J. Jankerson.
Jatorius J. Jankerson.
Yeah.
Yes, we had JJ. I was looking over our old notes, and everything was JJ. I still
It's JJ.
don't understand why JJ, but yes.
From J. Jonah Jameson. You know, he's my role model and idol, and I look up to him. I have a bronze statue of him in my office.
So what you're saying is you like the villain from the Spider-Man series,
Well,
J. Jonah Jameson.
I just like
Killer
calling
Croc himself.
I like calling on people and saying, "What are you, deaf? I called you twice." You know.
His number one, everybody knows that famous line from Spider-Man, "What are you, deaf? I called you twice." And it was actually really offensive because the person was deaf, he kept calling. So it was a really offensive remark. That one's banned in Spain.
Some
Only
people are
in
just
Spain.
too sensitive.
Yeah, bro. I hear you, man. There's a lot of people sensitive, but you know what? I don't care because in 1 month from now, I'm going to play Cyberpunk 2077, man.
Are you,
All my
though?
time.
Are you though?
Yeah, November
Is that gonna
19th.
happen?
Yeah, of course.
Is
Why?
it
You know something
though?
I don't?
mean, are we gonna get one of those tweets that said February, and then it's gonna turn out that I was right this whole time?
Well, you buried the lead, my bro. It already got moved out of November. It's in December now. Oh, I said next month. You were right. Okay, I'm an idiot. I keep thinking it's October. There we go. Back. Beep, beep, beep. That's me erasing everything I just said. I cannot believe it got postponed to December. It went gold. It has been postponed.
Well,
Woe
it's
is this day.
Yeah, I mean, from what we've talked about this too, it sounds like a lot of these, you know, and I figure a lot of like Halo Infinite's delay can be chalked up to this as well, like having to release on multiple consoles.
Yeah, I think that's a big problem. I just was disappointed because, you know, they released a statement that they've gone gold, which means the whole game is playable. Doesn't mean it's perfect, but it means it's playable. So I thought, okay, we're there. We're at the finish line. We're done. We're going to be playing this game in November 19th. If I get a next-gen console, it's going to be amazing. I'll get it regardless. And, yeah, we're looking at December 10th. And like you, I am starting to believe that is a placeholder date, and we're going to be playing this in 2021.
So what the people in the audience can't see right now is that Branky Poo here went out into his yard and flipped over all the patio furniture.
Yeah. What the
poor
people in the
bird
audience
was like,
can't see is JJ's
Yeah.
dressed as a clown this episode. It's really strange. He's got full
He was
clown
out in the
makeup.
yard. He had this like really cool birdhouse his mom got him for Christmas. There were like 12 birds in there, and he just punched it.
That's
and
my
now
favorite
all
gift,
the
birdhouses.
all the birds can no longer fly. So now he's got wrecked furniture and convalescent birds in his yard.
All those birds, man, they don't know where they're going to go, okay? They're holding signs outside. They're waiting for me to build them a new home.
They got crutches. Yeah, it's a mess out there.
Yeah, that was the one bummer about recording our interview episode early, which was awesome. Thank you again, Mina, from Mega Cat, is that we did not talk about Cyberpunk. That happened before that episode aired, and that we were all talking about how excited we are to play that. That's kind of thrown a lot of things out of whack. There's been a bunch of other games delayed and stuff. We'll get into that in the news, or maybe we won't, because I don't think either of us are excited for Path of Exile or Everspace or whatever else was delayed. But I am at this place now where I don't know about game releases. That's going to be what we're going to talk about today, is the November game releases. There's a ton of them, but that was the game I was looking forward to. It's not coming out. So on that really, really high, happy note that everybody loves to hear, what have you been playing?
So, still chipping away at Night in the Woods. Don't need to talk about that. We have kind of beaten Resident Evil 7 to death. And so because
where are
of
you
that,
though now? Have you finished the first boss?
Well, okay, so because of all this talk we've done about that, I finally sat down and started playing it. I got to the part. It is such a weird game, and the fact that it like jumps across so many genres of gaming. Like it goes from horror to like this weird like Far Cry feeling game to science fiction.
See, I haven't gotten outside of the horror. I've only done like the flashbacks and to where you meet the first real antagonist. And man, that game's so scary. I'm like, I don't know how I can get out of that. You know what I mean? Like I don't even want to finish that scene. Have you done, okay, so this isn't like a spoiler. I think everybody knows about this. There's a scene where you're fighting the first boss and a car breaks through the garage. Have you gotten to that scene yet? When you get
you just spoiled it. Jeez. No, so I am at the part right now. I haven't gotten that far. Like this game is giving me total anxiety, so I'm gonna have to like take it in chunks. But I got to the part where you get knocked out and you wake up at the kitchen table.
Yeah.
You have like the crazy people there. They cut that guy's arm off.
Oh,
and at first that was really shocking, and then I found out that like this whole game, one of the biggest new mechanics is the fact that you can like tape your body parts back on. So
yeah, that's a trip.
Yeah, anyways, I didn't even know you could do that at first, so I ended up bleeding out as I was trying to like jump into the escape hatch. But so I got to that part, and just the fact that like you have to walk around the house while this guy's like chasing you with a shovel.
Yeah.
Like it was giving me such bad anxiety, and the fact that like you have to go through him a couple times. Like you have to physically move him to get where you need to go, and that was making my chest hurt, man. So this is a game I'm gonna bite off in like slow chunks, because I don't think I could sit there and play 3 hours of this in one sitting.
So as far as I know, you don't actually need to go through him, because I got to the next scene where you get to the save. Did you go under the house and get to the room where you can save, where you're finally safe?
So I tried to, and then he cut my leg off with a shovel. Did that happen to you?
No. If you go the right way and you play it stealthy, you can wait for him and you never have to like confront him. But it's tricky. You have to like, I don't think I followed a guide. I just was like running the right way, and then I had to find a guide to see how to get out of there, because like, what am I doing? And then I found out,
keys.
What's up? You find the keys? Yeah.
Yeah, you find keys and it opens.
Yeah, I have to say that game is terrifying. I do want to get back to it as well. There's a lot of other stuff on the docket for me, but yeah, I don't know what to say beyond like it's really, really spooky horror stuff. I mean, we've already finished Halloween. We're done. No more spooky horror. You can't play it till next year, okay? That's the rule. That's the rule. Everybody knows it.
Yeah, well, so one thing I do want to comment on it is that like I do love the new like first person perspective that they're offering in this one. It really, I don't know, I guess it feels more immersive than the other games, which are just like action games. You know, you're just going along a straight path or whatever. This game feels I don't know, it gave me like those Dead Space vibes, you know, where I'm kind of have that first person perspective, and you can kind of, if you feel like you're there.
It's scarier than Dead Space, I would say. But yeah, I'm glad Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil 8 is sticking with that, because I think it's smart. I think giving it only one shot would have done a real disservice, and I think in the end it is much more terrifying because of first person. Like Resident Evil 2, like it's a great game. I had moments where I was freaked out, but very few. I mean, we already did our top scariest games, and that wasn't even my top scariest game. But yeah, Resident Evil 7 is just so terrifying. That game is just horrific. To get to happier things, now that we're in November, I picked up a game called Bloodroots on sale for like $3 on Nintendo Switch. It came out in January of this year. Looked pretty interesting. It's kind of like a Hotline Miami-esque game where you play as this dude. It seems like in colonial America, and I can't remember
Colonial
exactly.
Miami, right?
Colonial Miami.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
just want to make sure.
Colonial Miami, the game.
Everyone's got really big sailboats and.
That's it, man. But no, it's pretty neat. You run around like the wilderness, and then it's kind of like a killing puzzle. It's not as challenging as Hotline Miami, so in some ways it's less interesting. I was very happy I paid $3 for it. It's a really well-made game for $3. There are very few games I've ever paid that little for that are that good of an indie game. But I don't want to talk too long about it because it's kind of old, and I've actually played new stuff. But I want to take this playing and new stuff in a different angle. I normally tell you about it. I want you to ask me some questions. So I'm going to start with the first one. This is not as big as the second. But I played the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity demo. Did you try that?
Oh, no, I did not. I forgot that was up. I was actually going to download it. I pre-ordered the game this past weekend, though. So
Oh, you pre-ordered it? Okay. Did you like Hyrule Warriors, the first one?
I mean, I like things about it. It was one of those ones that I dragged myself through. You know, it wasn't like stuck to it, but I liked it. Okay, it was not okay. It's not my favorite game, but I don't like regret playing it, I guess.
Okay, yeah, like I liked Dynasty Warriors 2 and 3. It's from that company. I did not like Hyrule Warriors, the original one. But before I get too much into this, is there anything you're interested about in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, the demo? And then I'll give you kind of my thoughts.
So I'm interested in the artwork and how it looks like Breath of the Wild. I'm hopeful the soundtrack will be similar to that. Yeah, to kind of like make you... That was one of the great things about Breath of the Wild is that you felt like you were fully there.
Yeah.
You felt like you were a part of the world. And yeah, I'm hopeful that it would be cool to have more like shrine play in there.
That would be cool. It's not in the demo. It's not there. So
okay, all right. Well, tell me. I mean, how much exploration did you come across while playing the demo?
Very, very little. I will say that I do enjoy the demo, and it's kind of made me more optimistic about the game than I originally went into it. But yeah, there's no shrine play, and there's next to no exploration. It is a Dynasty Warriors game. You can't jump. You can like hover with your hang glider from like Breath of the Wild, but it's really weird, and it works in a very strange way where you don't actually gain elevation. You just kind of like hover above the ground if you can pop off or pull off a move. I think it's much better than the original Hyrule Warriors. Like I said, I'm tempted to actually buy it now. But that being said, it does make me wish it was more like actual Breath of the Wild, because a lot of it is you run through an area, you fight a bunch of guys, use your powers.
I think that's why they made it take place in this world, is because they know there are people who wanted something like that, and they knew that Breath of the Wild was highly acclaimed and highly profitable.
Yeah.
I don't think that they had planned on like putting all the mechanics that Breath of the Wild had into a game like this, though.
Yeah, so it's got a lot of those mechanics. There's the bomb, the cryosis stuff, the ice thing. You can shoot your bow, which acts more like a machine gun than a bow.
What's the seed situation is what everybody wants to know.
Seed.
How many hours can I invest in finding all the seeds?
Oh, man, you don't even want to know how great those seeds are, bro. You'd be farming all day. No, you can still find Korok seeds. They're not hidden. Like the one I saw was just on a bridge on a windmill, and you just press Y and you touch it, and I don't know actually what it does at all. When you're done with the mission, you go to like an overworld, and from there you just choose on what you want to do. Like say you want to cook, you just click on the cooking thing, and if you have enough ingredients, you cook. So it's not like you don't cook on your own or anything like that. It's just a bunch of like, oh, do you have this thing? You can click on it and do it. The story is actually what seems the most interesting and most well put together out of everything. But from what I gather, it is going to be a strange story. I think there's a time-traveling guardian, I think is the name of those enemies from Breath of the Wild, like the ones with like the 4 legs. And there's a miniature BB-8 style time-traveling guardian that helps you go to these missions. So
interesting.
Yeah, man, the story seems like it's like the real draw. Otherwise, obviously, there's no weapon degradation. It is very much the same as Hyrule Warriors. You run around. You can have other people on your team. You can send them to where you are. You can switch between them. I think it's, if you're like aching for like a well done Dynasty Warriors game, get it. But there's some magic missing from it. In my opinion, that still keeps me in like that. Oh, it's much better than the original Hyrule Warriors, but it's not the same as Dynasty Warriors 2 or 3, where I was blown away by the tech at the time. Like this amount of exploration, being able to do the combat with that many guys.
Yeah. So I mean, how long do you? Because I know like these types of games are kind of notorious for not being very long. How much gameplay do you think we'll get out of something like this?
Well, I mean, I think Hyrule Warriors was actually an extremely long game. I never beat it, but I've heard people putting like dozens, if not 100 hours into it. I'm thinking of like your typical Dynasty Warriors brawler, 99 Nights type game. Like they're not like super long games. So that's why I was curious about, how long do you think this game will end up being? Comparable like in hours to Breath of the Wild, or something much shorter? I mean, it really depends. Like, if you're just talking about the main story, like you're playing with one character and you're going through the main story, no clue. My guess is probably in the 12 to 20 hours mark. But most people who buy these games buy them to play with every character and to level up all the characters and to do all that stuff. And in that way, it's like hundreds of hours. I don't know how many characters are in this game, but I think Hyrule Warriors had like at least 30 or 40. Let's do a fact check real quick. How many Star Wars characters in Hyrule Warriors? Hyrule Warriors playable characters. I think it's like 30. Yeah, more than 30. So like most of these games have like a lot of characters. So yeah, I think, if you want value, I definitely think you'll get it out of this game. But it's, do you want to do the same repetitious thing? You run around, smack guys, most of the combat is very, very simple and generic.
I want to smack some boys is what I want to do.
You got to smack those boys, okay? You got to get that club and smack the boys.
Yeah, just smack them.
But no, man, I did the thing I said I wasn't going to do last week or 2 weeks ago. I can't remember when we talked about it. I bought Watchdogs Legion because Cyberpunk was
I thought you were
going to
say I bought Tales of Vesperia or something.
Yeah, Tales of Vesperia. I rebought Tales of Vesperia again, a game I didn't even play the first time. I just wanted to keep buying it, man. I love it.
Yeah, it was on
I don't want
sale,
to play it, but I just want to buy it. No, I bought Watch Dogs Legion. Mainly a lot of it had to do with Cyberpunk getting pushed back, and then reading that Watch Dogs Legion, I don't have a 4K TV, and all the Series X improvements are just fidelity. There's no frame rate improvements for Watch Dogs, so it's 30 on Xbox One X. It's going to be a capped 30 on Xbox Series X. So I'm not really gaining anything by waiting. Maybe improve load times. So yeah, man, I picked it up. It is interesting. Is there anything you want to know before I just kind of
is there like any kind of like co-op system on there? Like, can your friends jump in your game, or how does that, or is it just like your typical multiplayer, or how does that work playing with people on that?
Yeah, so the multiplayer isn't launched yet. It doesn't launch till December, and because of the way this year has been, I would not be surprised if it does not make its December launch date and comes out later. Okay. I have no clue what the multiplayer is going to be like. I don't even know if they've really talked about it yet, man. I don't know if it's 4-player co-op. I don't know if it's going to be like Watch Dogs 1 and 2 where people would like hack your world. Like, I don't have a clue. I would imagine they've seen that GTA 5 money, and they're probably trying to do something that's really neat. Yeah, where it's like maybe you all come in with your different operatives and you try to complete missions, like kind of like a raid almost. So, yeah, man, I dig the game. I like it. A lot of people hate it. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about it. A lot of people think it's boring to frustrating. I could see that. I think the big problem is I haven't played a city-style open-world crime-esque game since probably Watch Dogs 2. I can't remember any recent ones outside of GTA 5 is extremely old now. But yeah, I like that genre. I like that genre a lot. And the last open world game of that level was Red Dead Redemption 2 and felt nothing like that and wasn't very fun. So getting back to the roots of like just go around, do stuff style game, it's a blast. It obviously has a lot of issues, and we'll see how long we actually want to talk about those. But just the boilerplate, in case you're somehow first hearing about this, even though we've talked about it before, it is a game where you can play as any characters in the game. Almost every single character, at least that I've run into, is recruitable, besides one that I accidentally beat up, and now they hate me, so they won't be able to be recruitable.
Jeez.
Yeah. I shouldn't have been throwing wrenches at their face all day, and now they hate me for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's neat. It really is cool. Like, so I recruited a paramedic, so now if I need to do a mission in a hospital, I can go inside the hospital in uniform.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's neat. You can do the same for like the police, same for gangs, same for all that stuff, right? If you can get them to like you, you do like a side mission, and all their side missions so far have been different, and all their dialogue's been different. Every character looks like butt, so just get ready. None of them look good. They all look ugly,
like
but
literal butts. Like it's
yeah,
just
I mean,
cheeks with a line down the middle is
they
all they
Photoshop
are.
butts as all of their faces, so it's a really weird game.
Some of the butts have hats on. Some of the butts have facial hair. It's a real butt fest.
It's just it's a weird game to even talk about because it's about a tyrannical government that puts everybody under a lockdown and a quarantine, and they take away people's rights, and it's crazy. The whole thing's crazy, and you're there to fight against it.
That has never happened before.
Never in the history
of... That's completely illogical. I mean, nobody would ever do that.
Yeah, nobody would ever allow a government to do that. That's what we're talking about on the show. Nobody would ever allow anybody to do that.
It's funny that, I mean, that theme's kind of hitting close to home. I wonder if that's what caused the delay for the game.
I don't know, man. It is like if you are willing to look just a tiny bit further, it really hits close to home because the pretense for the lockdown is safety. There has been a terrorist attack in England, and this was supposed to be about Brexit because people were afraid of like others and stuff, and the government being totalitarian. But in our current situation, it's just very interesting to think like, oh, hey, they went for this thing that is probably not the cultural norm or narrative that people want, is like something where it's like fight back against the government for putting you under a lockdown or over control and stuff. And maybe there's a totally different message at the end of it. I haven't gotten that far. Main Lab has been having fun, like playing with people. Like you can get on this cargo drone, right? There's lots of drones. Everything's automated. There's drones everywhere. I think it's supposed to be near future. And I have a construction worker, and one of his abilities is to call a cargo drone. And you can get on that cargo drone and then fly around the city. So I flew around the city for a while trying to get these tech points, which is you don't gain experience by shooting or doing mission. Well, some missions will give you tech points, but you don't have like a leveling system. You get these tech points, and these tech points are where you buy the ability to hack drones, or the ability to have like a non-lethal shotgun, or the ability to do this or that, whatever. There's a bunch of different choices. And so like I was trying to get all these tech points, and I was on my cargo drone, and with my construction worker, I fell off the drone, and because I'm not playing with permadeath, I got injured, which put me out of it for 30 minutes. Now, the game was like, hey, if you don't want to wait 30 minutes, you can go recruit a ambulance or a hospital worker. If you recruit them, then it will lower. So I went, I started that mission, and she was like, you thought she was bad, trying to like hack the hospitals and do bad stuff, but you found out she's good. She's trying to stop people from hacking the hospitals, and she's trying to stop gangs from selling organs. So you go there, and then you find where the organs are, and you go break into that facility, and then you take the organs back to her, and then she joins you. Now, all that stuff that I just said very quickly, that's not, you don't ever have to engage with that. That's not a main part of the game. That was because my cargo worker fell off a building accidentally, that I talked to this random person who had this random side quest, and all of it is just so, like, it's insane. Like, it's really, really, really neat. Like, to see what indie games have been doing on a AAA scale, it blows my mind. I really, really dig it.
It's funny, just hearing you talk about this, it feels like one of those games where you can get lost in just the infinite amount of things you can do in the game. Like, you're talking about having to recruit an ambulance driver for the sake of healing another character. It's like, it feels like there's like just an infinite amount of systems in there that you can just get lost in without ever actually like touching the main narrative.
Yeah, so that's the cool thing, and in my mind, that's also the downfall, is that it is a systems-heavy game with a narrative that is very similar to, I guess, Far Cry 5. It's not very like in your face, kind of like go out, do stuff style narrative. And so the problem is this. You get the ambulance worker. That's their one thing. Otherwise, everybody is just as good at parkour. Everybody is okay with a gun. Everybody can hack everything. Certain characters will have access to certain drones or cars or whatever, but anybody can go grab a car off the street. Everybody knows how to drive. There are like funny perks, if you will, for characters. Like one guy, I think, like randomly died. I saw him. I'm not going to recruit him, but it does sound like a really funny perk to have on your team. They may randomly die. So yeah, there's really neat stuff in there that I feel like is just bogged down by the fact that there's no real progression per character. They all just feel kind of like, oh, I'm going to use the cargo worker 90% of the time because I want to fly around on his cargo drone. Okay, I'm going to use this police officer only when I need to go into a police station. Otherwise, I'm never going to use him. You know what I mean?
There's not really a lot of motivation for like recruiting different classes of people.
Yeah. You essentially just need to recruit enough people so you have one of each. You know what I mean? Like one of each element. So you can get into anywhere when you want. Whereas like, and this is, the developer fun side, creative me, armchair developing for this game. I wish, beyond anything else, because this game is so much fun, I wish that they had personal character progressive traits. Like, hey, everybody has like maybe on a scale of 10, you have a 4 in parkour, you have a 5 in gun handling, and the more that you do that, or the training or whatever you do, you can increase it. Do you know what I mean? Like an idea where like your character progression is also important, so you don't want to like lose them, and you can get better at things. They did that in GTA 5, I want to say. They had like driving handling and gunsmanship and all that other stuff. So I wish they had just one other system like that, because otherwise, like I said, I'm about to get all the characters I need to access everywhere. And even if you don't have them, you can sneak in, you can use a drone. There's lots of really fun ways into things, but you don't really need them either. Do you know what I mean? Like I could have just waited for my guy to heal. I didn't need the hospital worker.
This game sounds dangerous for somebody like me who like loves side quests. So this sounds like something I should not play, because I would literally play it forever. Like, I thought the first Watchdogs game was okay. Never played the second one, but I was seriously considering jumping into this one. But from what you're telling me, I'm now getting scared of doing it.
It's so weird, man, because like I say that, and then I'm like, oh, well, you're worried about side quests. You don't need to worry about that, because if you don't care about recruiting people, there are very few side quests in the game, which makes it even weirder. Like, if you look on the map, Ubisoft games are normally a million things to do on the map. Yeah. Every single zone, there are 6, 7, 8 zones. I don't know how many, but there are some amount of zones, not very many, have between 2 and 4 things you do to liberate them. And each of those only takes, 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes. So if I wanted to, I could run around the map, liberate the whole thing in probably 2 or 3 hours. And it wouldn't be hard. The real fun of the game comes from like doing things the way you want, which is really, really cool and really neat. The problem is your characters start to feel like, and I heard this on another podcast, which really feels true, like trading cards. Your characters start to feel like Pokemon.
That's how they kind of advertise them, though, in a lot of the game marketing, is that like when you're tired of this one, you just play with this one like they're just action figures.
Yeah, and that's cool, but because there's no progression, there's no real... I mean, I just kind of stick with the construction worker, because he gets that cargo drone, so he can always fly around the city whenever he wants. Like, there's no way, as far as I've seen, there's no way to add skills to operatives. Like, whoever is good at something, they're good at that thing. So there's no, like, benefit to playing as one person. It's like, find the one you like and play with them.
Well, so that was something that kind of, like, turned me off of the game in the first place, is the fact that I'm into stories, like, that.
Yeah.
From my, me talking about how much I love Final Fantasy, Assassin's Creed, things like that. I need a story. I need a character that I can latch onto to carry me from one part of the game to the next. And the fact that this one didn't have anything like that made it not as like appealing for me.
Yeah, man, there's some real problems with the game. Like the gunplay is not good. There's no personality. The only real character that's there the entire game that I actually enjoy is an AI named Bagley, and he just is kind of like a sassy AI. And he's not my favorite character, but I like him more than Sabine, who's the head of DedSec. Otherwise, like I played for probably 6 or 7 hours. I'm not even sure who the real bad guy is. I just know the corporation Albion is bad.
It's the man. The man is the bad guy.
Yeah, and it's that, right? And I've done quite a few of the main missions. I got a main mission where I need to get into Scotland Yard. So that's why I ended up getting like this Albion guy, which took a while, so I can walk. I want to see if it will let me walk in there and do stuff, because I haven't done that yet. So I want to see how that works, because otherwise the game is really easy. You can just use what's called a spider drone and use it to jump around, and I've done a lot of missions just that way. And the ones you can't, you could pull out your shotgun if you want and just start shooting people
do
with
it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, and the problem is the AI is very bad. So like they're either gonna like kill you really quickly, or they're gonna miss all their shots and you just run away. And the gunplay is not great, so it's not really fun to shoot. So, and because it's like an Ubisoft game, everybody takes like 15 shots to go down. So that also feels weird. Like there's a lot of small weird things that I'm like, I like this, but why couldn't they just finish it? Take it to the goal line.
Yeah.
Be done with it.
So I mean, okay, let me ask you I have one more question, and then
we'll move on to some news.
How does it work? Like, the characters you have, do they die and you can't use them anymore, or is there a way to heal your characters? Like, how does health regeneration work in this game?
So at the very beginning, there are 3 choices you make. There is permadeath, no permadeath, and a third option I cannot remember for the life of me. Permadeath, if your character dies, they're done. You can't get them again. And you can get a game over if you lose your whole team without recruiting someone else. Okay. Non-permadeath, which is what I'm playing, when they die, they go to the hospital. And, there you have to wait for them to regenerate. Same with prison. They can get arrested in this game, and which I don't even know how you get arrested, honestly. I fought like guards, I've beat up the police, like punched them, and then I just run away. You would probably have to like lay down to get arrested in that game, because they're going to normally shoot you if you can't do that, so you're going to be injured. So yeah, there's like I have a lawyer on my team who will get me out of prison pretty quick too. But yeah, man, it's real simple. Permadeath or no permadeath. If somebody's playing this right now, I suggest no permadeath, only because like unless you really want to spend your whole time recruiting people, you might be like me, and I played most of the game with 3 people till just recently. Now I have a team of 6. So if you have permadeath and you die early on, which is pretty easy, because like the game is buggy as can be, and you might just die randomly or fall off something when you don't mean to, then you lose that character and you game over, and I actually don't know what happens there. Oh, I think the final mode is ultimate permadeath, which means like you don't get to choose when you save. So if you die, you lose your save file.
And your soul too. That's
and your soul.
Permadeath.
Yeah, it's It is a Faustian deal you make to be able to play this game. I had to sign the document away. My soul is done. Everybody. But yeah, let's get to some news, because we have so much to talk about this week, and it's crazy, and we're getting to the holidays, and it's awesome. Peace. Super PS. Okay, we are back, my brosif. What did you want to say?
Yeah, all right. So I've been following like the how to get an Xbox if you didn't pre-order train.
How do you do that?
Online.
Let me know. I want it.
Okay, so from what I've read, Microsoft, GameStop, Target, and Best Buy are all going to have stock both in-store and online when the Xbox drops.
Yes.
So
I heard
if
it's
you are
single digits for GameStop, real quick, just so people know, it is single digits for GameStop. That's how many Xboxes they're getting.
So I imagine the release date will be, if you're on the West Coast, it'll be 10 o'clock. If you're on the East Coast, it'll be midnight. If you're in the center like me, it'll be 11. So I imagine you just keep your computer open to all 4 of those pages, get in line. Hopefully you'll be able to grab one, but it's not guaranteed. I'm going to try. I know Branky Poo is going to try.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to remind me. So you're saying on November 9th at night, we get on our computer and just keep reloading?
Keep reloading the page, get in the queue, and hope that you're able to grab one. I'm I'm gonna try to grab one. I can.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah.
But
So
I don't know,
if
man.
you're in
I'm
the
really
market.
Yeah, I'm really concerned that they are making too limited quantities to be able to get them easily till maybe like December, January. I have no
Yeah,
doubt by
well,
like beginning next year, you'll probably be able to, if we can, walk into a
yeah.
store and buy one.
Well, it was Microsoft or Sony. One of them was saying that the shortages could last a few months.
Yeah, I think honestly, just because of like if the vocal minority is true, I think the PS5 will be harder to find than the Series X for at least some
Yeah.
time. I've heard that the Series S and the digital PS5 are going to be extremely hard to find for a while. I don't know if that will be true. Yeah, because they're cheaper. I am in the market for a digital PS5 and a Series X, so I'm hoping I can get those. There's nothing really that's pushing me over I'd like to get one, but there's nothing that's like, oh man, if I don't get one by December, I'm going to be so bummed out. Because if Cyberpunk does get pushed back, and we are right, the only game I'm even kind of interested in playing, that I feel like I need a next gen console is Demon's Souls, and in some ways Valhalla. But even Valhalla, I'll probably get it when it's on sale in December.
Yeah, well,
and probably play it on Xbox One X regardless.
Yeah, well, so the cool thing about the Xbox, and this isn't the same with PlayStation,
No.
the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X games come in the same package unless it's exclusive to the Series X, because you see the box art has like the little X on the top right corner. So, I mean, it's the same game, whereas PlayStation 5, you actually have to buy a PlayStation 5 disc.
Yeah, yeah, man. There's just so many weird things we're about to deal with when it comes to this stuff, because we've talked about PS5 and there was like a lot of backwards compatibility stuff. We went over a list and they said these are the games that won't work, and we're going to talk about in the news. But I guess we could talk about it now because we're in the news.
Bum.
Yeah. So they released something. When was this? It looks like one day ago they released something that says not all Assassin's Creed games will be backwards compatible on PS5. That's what they did. But it seems like they recently just pulled that listing that they said. So I don't. Anyways, nobody knows if it works or not. But supposedly Assassin's Creed Syndicate and the 3 Assassin's Creed 2D games will not work on PS5, which goes against the list we heard earlier. But they're now saying that that's not true and it will work. I don't know, man.
The
I
whole
think this
backwards
is gonna get real
compatibility
messy.
thing with Sony it's a mess.
Yeah,
You can't
it's
nothing.
insane.
They're constantly going back on their word, whereas, this is just my inner Microsoft fanboy saying, Microsoft's up front. They tell you what you're going to get is what you're going to get, and it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, so someone asked me this. So what makes you want to buy an Xbox even though there's no console exclusives coming out at launch? It's just the fact that they are good to people. They are good to their fans, and they have worked so hard to create a good product this time around. And because of that, they have my loyalty as opposed to Sony. I also want a PlayStation, but it's not going to be something I'm rushing out to buy.
Not the first
whereas Xbox, just because of how good they are to people, I'm more willing to buy it.
I think a big point is it's kind of similar to yours, but my biggest push, because they are companies, so they could change their stance. I mean, good. But the one thing I do like right now, at least unless they have to go a whole 180 to stop this, is they have made me feel comfortable that when I buy this next Xbox, all of my purchases that they've made backwards compatible will come with me forward.
Mm-hmm.
And the hope is that that's a permanent thing from now on, and they're going to keep adding to that. So it's not like PlayStation where, I'm glad they made PS4 backwards compatible, but it's like, oh, okay, it would be great to get all my old PlayStation games backwards compatible. Same with Nintendo.
Yeah.
I just don't trust that when I move to the next console with them anymore, I'm going to be able to play their last game consoles.
Yeah,
and I'm sick of holding on to 5 consoles to play games that's like, well, I'd like to play, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, but I don't really want to plug in my PlayStation 2 and try to find the disc and get the HDMI cable. All the stuff you have to do. You know what I mean?
It's
where
too
it's like
complicated.
Oh, yeah, it's insane. Where it's like, oh, some game worked on original Xbox. Knights of the Old Republic. Knights of the Old Republic worked on original Xbox. Guess what? I bought it for $5 on sale this week because it's like, hey, it plays.
Yeah,
works.
exactly.
It's going to work on the
and
Series
they don't
X, too.
charge you. They don't charge you an arm and a leg to get a digital copy of it either.
Yeah.
Like, say you're looking to buy God of War, the first one on PlayStation 4, on their
I'm building a house
marketplace,
across the street real quick. If you're wondering why there's going to be some drilling in there, I decided to build a house while we're talking.
Yep. You got that
anyways,
construction drone, yeah.
Yeah, I got that construction drone. But so I apologize about that. But continue about the arm and the leg.
Oh, well, I was just saying, like, you want to buy an old game on PlayStation's marketplace, you're going to end up paying upwards of $20 for it. Whereas if you go onto Microsoft, you can buy an original Xbox game for $3 or $4. It's not really.
Yeah, and you know what they put some work into those PS2 games. Like, I will give them that, but it's just frustrating to be like, no, you can't play your old ones. Like, that's what I like. Like, okay, yeah, somebody's gonna remake. Okay, perfect example. I can play BioShock Infinite, the 360 version, on my original Xbox right now. I did not have to buy the BioShock collection that came out, a few years ago. I could buy that if I want to play it with higher resolution graphics, but I didn't have to. I could just play the game. That's the same thing people on PC have been talking about for decades. Why keep buying the same games when you don't need to? So, yeah, for this stuff, I totally agree. I'm there with you. To keep it moving, though, and to keep it in the PlayStation ballpark and Ubisoft ballpark, Far Cry 6 got delayed. They're blaming it due to COVID.
Saw that.
It was originally supposed to come out in February of 2021. They're now moving it past March. I'm assuming it's going to be a big delay, if I'm being honest. Go ahead.
You know what? I think I see, like, a high-profile game like this being delayed, and I'm hoping that this is not a trend for things to come in 2021, because if that's the case, then we're going to look, we're looking at another year of what happened now. And from what, I feel like people at this point should have their act together as far as, like, development in COVID time is concerned, because it feels like, where a lot of industries are going back to work. So I would hope that they would have this figured out, because I don't want to have another year like this. Like, especially with these new consoles coming out, I want things that I can play. I don't want to have to sit there and be excited about something and have it be delayed.
Yeah, I mean, I totally hear you, man. Game development is hard. We don't talk about that a lot. It is an art. It's really crazy that any game gets made. I see this being like this year's Watchdogs Legion, which got delayed before any COVID, any virus, any of that stuff. Watchdogs Legion was originally supposed to come out in January of 2020. It got pushed back to October of 2020. Now with the work from home, plus I feel like Far Cry 6, they showed it way too early. They just showed us like a teaser, and they're like, hey, it's coming in February. It's like, you guys haven't even shown us what the gameplay is like. I don't know if I trust you. I could see this one being delayed an entire year. I'll just be up front like with everybody. I could see this like February 2022. That's when I actually see it coming out, because we don't know anything about it. We don't even know how it looks. It's going to be running on next-gen hardware. It should be better looking. This could be a very, very big endeavor. Whatever. They kind of lost me at Far Cry 5. I'm hoping I jump back on Far Cry 6, but I don't have huge expectations for it, to be honest. Like, I hope it's fun.
I hope it's fun too. I like the Far Cry games, and I can play them kind of mindlessly. So that's what I've always kind of enjoyed about them.
Yeah, man.
But as long as it comes out and it's something that is similar to what I know and love from Far Cry, I'll still play. It doesn't matter when it comes out.
Yeah, same. Yeah, if it comes out, it's great. I'm all for it. Every once in a while, I could always play that game. Like, I don't need it all the time, but it's been a while, so I'm down. I didn't play what it was called, New Dawn. I didn't play the Far Cry 5.
Yeah, I bought that. I just haven't had time to get to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then to keep it even more PS5, Bugsnax, that really charming-looking indie game that they showed at the press conference, it is coming free to PS Plus members, just for PS5, though.
Look out.
Yeah, not for PS4. So if you pay for PS Plus, the game is coming to PS4, but you cannot get that copy for free. So hope you got a PS5. I think you can download, if you're a PS Plus member, you can download on the site, so pre-download it if you pay for PS Plus, so you don't have to buy it. But yeah, it is weird that it's like it's coming for PS Plus just for PS5, but the game is also coming out on PS4 the same day. I find that to be bizarre, but whatever. It looks cool. I'll try it when I get a PS5. Another PS5 thing that happened, they didn't have a huge lineup of exclusives either. A lot of their games are coming to PS4. They obviously have more stuff coming out than Xbox does this holidays, but like they had one of their games coming out that everybody's like, what on earth is this? Destruction All-Stars. Do you remember that?
No, what is it?
It's like a Twisted Metal-esque game where people can people can get outside of the car. Anyways, it was supposed to come out for $70 at launch, and it did not look like it was a $70 game. And now it's been pushed back to February. It will be released on PS Plus, so for free. But there's like this weird caveat where it says it's free on PS Plus for 2 months. So I don't know if that means that you have a 2-month window to download it, because normally it's a 1-month window to download their PS Plus games, or if the game is only free on PS Plus for 2 months. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is. So,
yeah. Interesting.
That stuff's weird, man. That was a game I had no interest in. I still do not have any interest in. I think they were smart by not making it not charging $70 for it, because it does not look like a $70 game. But we will see what happens. Their weird timing and stuff reminds me of just the Nintendo. This is only available till this day. It's like, guys,
why?
Get your wording correct.
We want to make collectability.
Yeah, make sure your wording is accurate because people have no clue what's going on. Now, to get out of the Sony fan camp and fanboy and band camp, we are going over the Nintendo seas. I don't really have any news for Xbox besides what you mentioned about them going on sale the day of launch. But Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct mini partner showcase. It was last Thursday, out of the blue, no announcement, just like, hey, here's this thing. And I think it was the best Nintendo Direct mini partner showcase they've had so far. Do you remember any of the other ones, JJ?
Well, I don't remember what games were announced. I'm sorry. I'm like,
no, they were all garbage. Like that's what I was saying. Like these old Nintendo Direct mini partner showcases were where they talked about like WWE 2K backyard wrestling.
Right.
And like the Shin Megami game that's not even coming out till next year.
Yeah,
like a bunch of stuff where you're like
Monster Hunter and stuff like that.
Yeah, a bunch of stuff that even if it looked neat, none of it was coming out soon. Now this is similar. Nothing is coming out very soon outside of a few silent drops, but it's still, I think, leagues better. So let's just go through it because there's some surprising stuff. Control Ultimate Edition. Just came out to Nintendo Switch.
It's on the cloud, right? It's all cloud play.
It's a cloud version, so you pay. I guess you can play for free. So I should have tried that out, but I do want to try out, see how the cloud version works. But there is a free trial. You pay $40 for the access, which is I think the same price as the Control Ultimate Edition is on the other consoles. But yeah, man, this is going to be the way I think that Nintendo's going to get around not having as powerful of hardware and still getting these games that other consoles are getting. While we're talking about it, Hitman 3. That game is coming out to Nintendo's cloud version as well next year. So real weird, man.
Yeah.
Real weird.
It's unfortunate. What kind of like I don't like about that is the fact that a lot of people own Switches so they can play games on the go. With the cloud play, you can't do that because you don't have like a strong enough internet signal to do it.
Wait, what are you talking about, man? You can use your phone as a hotspot, drain all of your data, get a 5G data. I mean, so here's the thing. It is possible. With modern day 5G technology that's supposed to be mass market by the end of this year, the cloud version should work out in the go, but unless things change and unlimited data becomes free or cheaper or whatever, it's still not reliable. Yeah, so I get you, man. Like, I'm not going to buy any of this stuff because, one, I own the other consoles, and two, I don't like paying for rentals. Same reason I didn't pay for the Mulan film. It seemed crazy that Disney was selling me like a digital license.
Movie, man. You missed out.
I mean, I knew that woman became a hawk and flew around as a dragon hawk, and that was why I wanted to see it, man. I'm all big dragon hawk.
Dragon hawks, yeah.
Did you watch that movie?
I did, yeah. And I remember we made a joke about the dragon hawks.
Yeah,
she was a hawk.
Oh,
she
was.
Hawk,
Okay,
a hawk witch, a bird witch.
Oh man, that witch hawk so hot, man.
She was actually one of the birds that was in your birdhouse.
Yeah, in my birdhouse. She's outside picketing right now, but she's
out
also
right
a
now.
witch, so I gotta
she
be
can't. Yeah, she
careful.
can't morph back into a human because you broke her wings. So
yeah, I broke her house, which, as everybody knows, witches get all their power from their
it's
houses.
the source of her power. Didn't you see Hocus Pocus? Come on.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
So that was also where Nintendo, that witch house, no, the Nintendo Main Direct was also where they announced the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity demo. So you can try that out now for free. Mortals Phoenix Rising, I missed the free Google Stadia demo, but they just, reiterated that, hey, that's coming out December 3rd on Switch. You can play it there. I think if I get that game, I don't think I'm going to get it on Switch. I have a feeling it will run not very well compared to
everyone's
Xbox
really
PS5.
like marketing that, pushing that game really hard. Like all the game stores I've been to out here, they're all, they got rows and rows of pre-orders. So I think they're not pre-orders, but like the display cases. So I'm wondering if that's something they're really hoping will be a big title here.
I have no clue. I think it's just because this year's so rough and there's just not a lot. I mean, besides Valhalla, nobody's now certain if Cyberpunk's coming out. What are you going to push? I mean, Sackboy, Adventure, or whatever that game's called. There's just not a lot. Bugsnax. I don't even think that's coming out physically. There's just not a lot for people to push. The Yakuza Like a Dragon, probably the biggest Xbox Series X release. I mean, how many people are actually going to get that? Like, I don't even know if I will get that, even if I get a Series X, because that's like, it's cool, but like, I'd maybe pay $20 for it. Like, I don't think it's a worthwhile $70 game. Anyways, we talked about this when it came. I want to say we talked about this. We either talked about it on the phone or we talked about it over the podcast. Bravely Default 2. They announced that, I want to say in March or May, so maybe we didn't talk about this on the podcast. But it was supposed to come out in the summer. It did not, as you can tell, and it is now launching February 26th, 2021. That is like the end of the fiscal year, I want to say, for Japan, is like the end of February, into March area.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they're just trying to get that out before the fiscal year ends. Are you a big Harvest Moon fan?
I was in and out of the series, since it appeared on Wii.
Yeah, they have a cool-looking one coming out called Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town, the worst name ever. That is coming out March 23rd, 2021. That is, Harvest Moon-like game. Here's some fun ones real quick before we get to the big news. Part-Time UFO. Did you see that game? The little Kirby company, HAL Laboratory game?
Oh, yeah, I did. I saw there's there was some kind of Kirby feature in it, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was a picture of Kirby being picked up by the crane, because you play a UFO who's lifting crane or using a crane to pick up objects. It's like a physicsy thing. It came out on cell phones, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. So this is just a port of that. It's $8. I almost picked it up, but I got Legion, and I'm like, I can wait. I'm not going to play this anytime soon. They then had a bunch of small titles they announced. Surviving the Aftermath, which is weird, post-apocalyptic small title. Tropico 6, which is a PC title that's coming to Switch. Bakugan, Champions of Vestroia, which I think I talked about here last time because it was such a letdown. They were telling us that's from the company who made Shantae. They had a new game that they were talking about, and it happened to be this Bakugan thing, which I don't even know what that is. Griftlands, which is by Clay Interactive. They do, oh my gosh, what are their games? They have a lot of really cool-looking indie games, and Griftlands looks like a really neat, card-style game, but it's about, social interactions. Okay, they did Invisible Ink, Don't Starve, Mark of the Ninja, and everybody's favorite game ever, Shank and Shank 2.
Shank 2, man. What a great game.
Did you ever play that?
No.
I played the demo because it was like a 360 arcade game. It was when all 360 arcade titles had to have a demo. So I downloaded it. It's fine. It's like not Contra. What's that? Metal Slug. It's like a Metal Slug game.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So yeah, if you like Metal Slug, you'd probably like Shank and Shank 2. But yeah, I think the big news from the Nintendo Direct is No More Heroes 3, which they've announced, I want to say a year or two ago. That's coming out next year. They showed a trailer for it. And then No More Heroes 1 from the Wii game and No More Heroes 2, which was also a Wii game, I think also on 360. Those both silent launched, and they're sub $20 right now because they're on sale. They're going to be $20 when they get off sale.
Okay.
Do you have any experience with the No More Heroes series?
I bought the first one on Wii when it came out, but I just remember it being very like anime comic booky.
Yeah. I want to try it, man, but it's just they released it at the weirdest time. They released it the day before Pikmin 3 and Watchdogs Legion, and then they released it with a bunch of other stuff. So it's like, I don't know when I'm going to get to it, if ever. I don't know, man. I'm hoping it's great. We'll see what ends up happening. Any of those titles stand out to you before we talk about our big topic?
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of games that I would like to get into. I just don't know if I'll have the time. Like, I do like No More Heroes, but I don't know if I'm gonna have time to go through and play them. You know.
I'm there with you, man. Like, every time I think about buying a new game, even Knights of the Old Republic, it's like, when am I actually going to play this? But it was a game where it's like, hey, I'll add it to my collection. It was $5. It's a great game. I played it a lot as a kid. It's nice to have a digital copy now that's on a console and not. I have the PC copy, and I think I even have an iPad version of it. But because it's way better played with a controller, the iPad version just never gets touched. This has been a long episode, but I still want to do a topic because that's what we're all about here at Super BS, keeping things formal and formatted.
Boom.
Our topic this week is the games releasing in November. This is a big month.
Tell me about those games. What's going on here?
We'll try to talk about the big ones, but let's just go. I'll try to mainly talk about the big ones. But there are a lot of games coming out in November. There's consoles. There's everything, man. It's an insane month. So to kick off the month, which I guess came out tomorrow, it's coming out like the day before you listen to this. So it'll come out a day ago. Jurassic World Evolution comes out on Switch. Did you download that game? It's part of Gamescast on Xbox.
I have not, but I mean, is that the one that like premiered at E3 like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and they talked about like the Barbasol can? No, but I do want to play that. I've heard actually decent things about it. So is it on Games Pass?
It is. So you could just download it there, but if you want to pay money to play it on the go, you can also get it on Switch. When you listen to this, it will have already happened. There was a game I think I talked about because I played it during the Xbox Indie Gaming Summer Showcase, whatever it was called Yestermorrow, which was kind of like a neat 2D pixely platforming game about like time travel. That comes out on everything, PS4, Xbox, and Switch on Thursday. So if you're interested in that, check it out. I thought it was really neat. There's probably a demo up somewhere to play it because that's how I played it. There is Dirt 5, which is coming out November 6th. Are you a Dirt fan?
I am not.
You don't like playing outside in the dirt. That's a lie.
I don't like playing out in the
dirt.
Look,
show us your hands. Everybody see the mud on his hands. He has mud-caked hands, folks. Then there is that...
And mud-caked cakes, too.
And mud-caked cakes. He loves mud cakes. Yeah. And then on top of that, just in case you couldn't get enough driving for one day, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered also comes out on everything that same day. And then this is a game for JJ. This is the game he's been waiting for. It's also coming out that same day. He doesn't even know what he's going to play. Paw Patrol Mighty Pups Save Adventure Bay. November 6th as well on everything.
So funny,
the girls... See the pictures.
The girls here really enjoyed playing Paw Patrol on a roll, so that might actually be something I have to pick up for them. So
Paw Patrol, Mighty Pups, Save Adventure Bay. Everybody, you heard it here first. We're going to know about it very, very soon. Tropico 6, which we mentioned in the Nintendo Mini Direct Partner Showcase, is coming out that same day on Switch. And then we finally get to the bad boys. November 10th is the Xbox Series S, Series X launch day. Mm-hmm. Here we get Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Are you going to day one purchase that? I got to know. Mimi
yes.
Know.
Yeah, I pre-ordered it this weekend. So
even if you don't have a Series X.
Well, again, like you buy the disc and it's the same thing. There's just a code. Isn't there? From what I understand, there's a code inside the case that lets you upgrade your game.
I don't know if it's a code. I think you actually just put the disc in, and Xbox has smart delivery, so it figures it out for you. But
yes.
What I'm saying is, will you play the previous gen version? Will you play the one we're on now, the Xbox One?
Well, I mean, I guess that depends on if I can get a console or not. I mean, they're coming out the same day, so I mean, if I can grab one, then yes. But if not, then I'll play it on the Xbox One. I have no problem with that.
Now, there's a bunch of upgrades that are happening that aren't new, like Borderlands 3. If you get a Series X, are you going to try those, like Borderlands 3, Destiny 2, those style games?
I mean, if I end up going back to Borderlands and playing the DLC, which I'm sure I will eventually, then yeah, sure, why not?
Okay.
Are you?
I should, because I paid $60 for that game, and I feel like I was an idiot because I played it for like 2 hours. I played with you and one other person, probably 4 hours total. I've never touched it again. There is a bunch of stuff coming to Xbox Series X. There's one, I can't call it an indie game. It's made by one dude, but it's like super good looking, called Bright Memory. It was in the third-party showcase they did in May. That comes out launch day. It could be cool. We'll see. I guess it's all around PC and people don't really love it. Otherwise, yeah, man, it's a lot of old games. It's Destiny 2, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. It's Dirt 5, which came out a few days before. It's games like, I don't know what Enlisted is or Evergate, but those games, it's Fortnite and Forza Horizon 4 and Gears 5. And then finally, we get to a new game, at least for console, Gears Tactics. That is a game I'm actually excited to play, whether I have a next-gen console or not. I'm very excited.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you can play that on Xbox One still, because I am looking forward to playing it.
Yeah, I'm especially happy that it's a Games Pass game, man, because it's just like it would suck if I bought that for $60 and it blows on current console generation because it's made for the next gen. Then there was an indie game that came out in the summer, Maneater. I guess for some odd reason that's getting a Series X treatment. That game looked cool, so whenever it's on sale, I'll probably pick it up. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is coming to Series X. I guess they're going to add 120 hertz frame. That's like 120 frames per second support, which, just so you know, nobody's TVs do 120 right now. Like I think it costs like $1,800 to get a lowest end 120 hertz TV. Then finally, for non-next gen stuff, there is Sakuna of Rice and Ruin.
I really love that game. I played it at E3. I really enjoyed it. I've been waiting for a long time for that to come out.
It just sucks they decided November 10th. I don't know what they were thinking when they're like, hey, there's 2 next-gen consoles coming out. Let's put it on Switch and PS4 and PC on the same day or the same week, even if you're not an Xbox fan.
The gameplay and the animation, like, I loved everything about that game. Like, I loved it so much, I will probably buy it regardless.
Really? Okay, I'm excited. I will pick it up, but I'll probably wait for a sale. Tetris Effect Connected comes out on Xbox Series X, finally coming to Xbox. It was on PS5 2 years ago.
Tetris Effect Connected Presidential Edition elected.
I know, man. Some of these games have so many colons and commas. It's ridiculous. And we're not even halfway through this list. Then we got some like Warhammer's getting an upgrade. Chaos Bane, I don't know which game that is. Watchdogs Legion is getting its Series X upgraded the day it comes out. There's another racing game, WRC 9. Did you ever play that game 13 on the original Xbox?
I have not, but I have heard good things about it. I know people who are fans of that game.
Yeah, it's got I can never remember his name. Smolder, X-Files guy. Mulder. Yeah, Mulder. Okay, I was right the first time. David Duchovny. He's the voice of it, and so that's also coming out November 10th, but that is not a next-gen game. So weirdly, they decided to put it on all the previous gen or current gen consoles the same day as the Xbox Series X launch. Yakuza Like a Dragon, probably the biggest Xbox Series X game because it's the only one that's only going to Series X first. It will also be playable on Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and PC, but not on PlayStation 5. So that comes out November 10th. There's a bunch of small games. And then, November 12th is pretty much the same run-of-the-mill stuff. Valhalla, Borderlands 3, all those. But the PlayStation-specific games are Bugsnax, which we already talked about a little bit. Demon's Souls, which in my opinion is probably the best reason to own a PlayStation 5 this year. If you're just don't care about anything else, like that's probably the biggest game. But if you don't like Dark Souls games, probably not for you. Then we've got Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is also coming to PlayStation 4.
Okay.
We have Sackboy: A Big Adventure, which is also coming to PlayStation 4. We've got Godfall, which I don't know if you remember. That was like the first big PlayStation 5 game revealed at the Game Awards last December. That is coming to PC and PlayStation 5. That game is from a developer I really liked who made a card game called, oh my God, what is it called? The developers, Counterplay Games, Duelist. Oh my goodness, that game is so cool. It's like a very, very perfect Hearthstone compatriot. It's a wonderful game. I'm not seeing it on this list, but I think they also have Bugsnax, Demon Souls, Sackboy. Oh, Astro's Playroom, which is on the list. Yeah.
Okay.
That is preloaded onto every PlayStation 5. This list is provided by Game Informer, just so you guys know, because that's why I'm looking at this list. Then they are getting, obviously, Watchdogs, all the other ones that we talked about. And then 1 day later, after the PS5 launch, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War comes out on every console imaginable. That comes out on November 13th. Hopefully it'll be a good game. It's a reboot of the Black Ops series. Then Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory also comes out that same day as Call of Duty, but it is not on PlayStation 5 and Series X. So it'll only be able to be played backwards compatibly. It's PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Switch. So that is weird. There's some other stuff coming out. And then the last few big ones are Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity, comes out November 20th on Switch. Katamari Damacy Reroll comes out November 20th on now PlayStation 4 and Xbox. It's already been out on Switch. And then World of Warcraft Shadowlands, November 23rd, PC. November has a stupid amount of games, man. If you could choose one other November game besides Valhalla, because we've talked a lot about that you're excited for, what do you think it would be?
I don't know. I'm excited about the Hyrule Warriors game.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think for me it's like Gears Tactics, and yeah, beyond that, like maybe the new Call of Duty. I really liked the reboot of Modern Warfare that came out. Was it last year? Yeah, I guess that was just last year. That looks incredible. If I get a PS5, I'll definitely get Demon Souls, but otherwise, yeah, this is it's a pretty packed November, but I got to be honest, there's not a ton of stuff where I'm like, wow, I can't wait. And, I dug the original Marvel Spider-Man that came out on PS4 in 2018, but I don't know if I would say it's like the greatest game ever made, or like it's something where like, yeah, if I have a PS5, I'll pick up Miles Morales just because I enjoyed the last one for sure. But I don't even think I'm going to pick up that game on PS4. So we'll see, man. It sounds like the outside street sweeper or whatever that's going on now is telling us it's time to wrap up, as always. So when you hear that garbage collector come to take the garbage, it's time for our podcast to end. You guys know the noise. So do you have anything to add before the garbage collector comes into my house and takes me, throws me in the trash?
No, I mean, I think we're good, man. Until next time.
Yeah, boy. Yeah.